Today's Vegetarian Elite will be presented in Spanish with subtitles in Arabic, habla Caesar Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Mongolian, Nepali, Persia, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Tagalog and Thai. Bienvenidos televidentes, amantes de la diversión, a nuestro programa de hoy, que presenta a una de las personalidades televisivas más populares de México, el señor Marco Antonio Regil. El señor Regil ha presentado programas de TV clásicos en la televisión mexicana tales como Atínale al precio y Todo el mundo cree que sabe. Como dedicado humanitario, ha sido miembro del gabinete de celebridades nacionales para la Cruz Roja Americana, portavoz para la organización de caridad Children's International y presentador del evento de caridad para recaudar fondos más importante de México, la Teletón. En 2004, él fue invitado por el presidente de Estados Unidos, George W. Bush, para ser anfitrión de la celebración en la Casa Blanca del 5 de mayo, un día que honra la herencia mexicana en Estados Unidos, y que es hoy un día festivo en México. Y de 2008 al 2010, el señor Regil recibió los votos como la celebridad más confiable en la televisión de México, en una encuesta de Reader's Digest. Además de sus numerosas labores televisivas, el señor Regil es también un orador motivacional, un instructor certificado de yoga, un defensor de derechos de los animales y mucho más. Viviendo actualmente en Los Ángeles, Estados Unidos, al señor Regil se le pidió que describiera un día normal en su vida.
There's no typical day. There's sometimes I'm just getting up in the morning and going to the airport and arriving in Mexico City and going to a rehearsal and then taping 2 or 3 shows a day and then coming back. And when I'm not working here, I'm doing a master's degree in spiritual psychology, so a typical day could be being all day in school, in a workshop environment. I practice and teach yoga sometimes too, and do meditation. And I have 2 dogs at home, and so there's no typical day.
El señor Regil no siempre fue una estrella internacional. Le tomó años y años de dedicación y sacrificio para poder llegar a este punto.
I did radio for 8 to 12 years in a row until I got my first big opportunity. Long story short, then 12 years for radio and local TV and cable and all of that until I got The Price is Right in Mexico was in 1997. And from there, we did Price is Right, The Family Feud, Dancing with the Stars, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, and other shows in the Mexican telethon that we do every year, where we raise about $40 million a year for building handicapped children facilities, not hospitals, but rehabilitation centers for them. So it's been 26 years now.
El corazón del señor Regil también se extiende hacia nuestros cohabitantes animales del planeta, ya que él escogió la compasiva dieta a base de plantas. ¿Cómo llegó el señor Regil a conocer este estilo de vida?
I became vegan almost 3 years ago, and I was exposed to the cruelty that is that the food industry applies on animals, and not only the food industry, the medicine industry with all of these testing on animals, and the clothing industry with the way they treat the animals. And so when I became aware of the enormous abuse that was applied to all of these beautiful species, I got really sad, honestly, because I said, wow, it's like I had a veil that didn't allow me to see what was really there, and I've been part of this by eating it, by wearing it, by consuming the products. I did huge campaigns for the fast food industry. So when I became exposed to that, I became an active supporter of PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, and the Humane Society, and other charities related to animals, and that has become a huge passion in my life.
What led you to finding out about the animal industry?
That's a great question. It was a combination of things. I started practicing yoga first. Sean Korn, who's a really well-known teacher in the yoga world, I went to a 3-day workshop with her, and she spoke about food. She spoke about sugar, she spoke about gluten, she spoke about genetically modified food, and the way we're killing ourselves. And she gave us some information that really made me wake up. And she said, well, the practice of yoga means union with God, with every single being, with all the animals, with the whole planet. She said, if yoga gives you something, it should be a life free of any addictions. And I was like, I have addictions. I have a food addiction. I am addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to caffeine. I'm addicted to many, many, many things. So I started doing research. The first thing was I realized that there was a direct relationship between the way we're eating and obesity and cancer and diabetes and the lack of peace in the world and all the violence. So I started being exposed to that. So I started modifying my diet. I realized Mexico and the U.S. shared the first place in the world for child obesity and adult obesity. So I said, of course there's something wrong. I was gaining weight myself, as a matter of fact.
Su próximo gran paso en su transición fue contratar a uno de los entrenadores vocales más famosos de Hollywood, el señor Larry Moss. Además de ayudarlo a mejorar su pronunciación en inglés, el señor Moss, un vegano durante 20 años, le sugirió al señor Regil que viera el documental de PETA, Conoce tu carne.
And it just shows you with undercover cameras, shows you how they treat and kill the cows, how the chicken live and how they're killed, and they talk about clothing and all that. And these images, they're so horrible things that I never imagined. And I remember I was really shocked when I saw that, and I said, I don't want to be a part of this, So I cried a lot because I love animals. I love animals, and I just think that we're all the same. And you're not only eating all of the hormones and the antibiotics and all the medicines, you're eating all that suffering, and by buying the meat, you are sponsoring that industry. And the animals are paying the price of our lack of consciousness. So when I saw all of this, I cried and I prayed and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, because I was a huge carnivore. Being born in Mexico, I would eat meat 4 or 5 times a day. For me, having a big steak and milk every day and eggs every day, it was part of who I was. I was not raised in a Mediterranean diet with lots of fruits and vegetables and olive oil and all of that. I was raised eating a lot of bacon, a lot of meat, a lot of eggs, a lot of ham. I was extremely heavy on meat. So I remember, for me, it was more like a spiritual calling. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this, God, but I am not going to create this karma. I'm not going to create this suffering. I'm not going to be a part of this. So I made a strong commitment. So for me, the vegan thing became a very spiritual thing.
What about vegan restaurants that you like?
So obviously the Loving Hut is one of them. Mm-hmm. I love the Golden Mean that is in Santa Monica. I love Real Food Daily. I like Planet Raw. There's another one in Venice Beach called Seed. There's Native Foods. I mean, here in California, you have so many options. But having said that, I know a lot of friends that have been vegans and vegetarians in Mexico City and in other countries in Latin America without all of these restaurants. So what I'm doing around in my life is understanding that nobody has to tell me. I proved it to myself that money is not happiness. And so I'm just going back to the basics, going back to spirituality, going back to the things that make me happy. So it's a new path. So that's what I'm saying. I became physically, in the physical world, successful. Now I'm developing myself on the spiritual world.
¿Qué le depara el futuro al talentoso señor Regil? Ahora él comparte su visión.
Well, the big goal would be to create a media production company that creates formats with whether they're animated shows or comedy or documentaries or game shows or reality shows that help people get a glimpse of a higher level of consciousness, empower people, which is not new. I mean, you guys are doing it. Oprah has done it. Ellen DeGeneres is doing it. Like I said, many other channels, Discovery Channel, National Geographic is doing it. It has to be fun, so people will watch it. You can't be preaching or anything. The episode finishes and you laughed and you had a good time and you were entertained and, driven out of your problems for a little bit, which is the value of entertainment. But also you have something, they have a good seed in your heart. Something that's like, I could make my dream come true. I could live a better life. I could eat a more compassionate diet. I could lose the weight. I could learn something new. And that's a beautiful feeling. And that's when I think you align yourself with a higher consciousness.
Gracias al señor Regil por recordarnos que el premio más grande en la vida es dar y recibir amor. y deseamos que su misión traiga más paz a nuestros corazones y hogares por medio de programas televisivos edificantes que pronto serán realizados.
My name is Marco Regil. I'm a TV host in Mexico and the United States, and I want to encourage you to be veg, go green, to save the planet.
Para más información sobre el señor Marco Regil, le invitamos a visitar www.viviendoconmarco.com. Vividos televidentes, gracias por su compañía el día de hoy en Élite Vegetariana. A continuación, sigue entre maestro y discípulo. Que todos sus sueños de éxito y felicidad se hagan realidad física y espiritualmente. Lively viewers, thank you for your company today on Vegetarian Elite. Coming up next is Between Master and Disciples. May all your dreams of success and happiness come true, both physically and spiritually.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/VE.